morning, students. Welcome back to another session of collection of data. Uh, the problem that I am continuously facing with you is that very limited number of students are sending in the assignments, and I need your assignments for record purposes and also to make sure that you're understanding the things. If I don't receive them going forward, I will have to take live online sessions instead of recorded versions because I don't think it's working for you. So you better start sending in the assignments as asked for. Now we come to the next or the last topic, secondary data. Although I told you that I will be discussing the sample questionnaire with you, but no, I am not going to do it until and unless I receive assignments from all of you. So that's a homework that you need to do. Only then I will do my task. Now we move on to the next topic, the last one, which is the secondary data. We will learn more about it. What is it? We've already learned that what is secondary data. Now we will be learning more about it in detail. We will be also understanding the sources, which are the kind of sources from where the secondary data can be obtained, and what are the important sources or the generally used sources in India. And also we will learn that what are the precautions or what are the limitations that we need to take care of. So that will be a very small topic, precautions and limitations, just to bring clarity to the question that why secondary data needs to be verified, or why do people need to be cautious while using secondary data, what are the challenges that people face. Of course, when you're getting something with less time and less effort, you have to pay a price for it. So what are the major challenges there? We'll be discussing that at the end. Right now I'll first reiterate what is secondary data. Like we talked about in the previous sessions, there are two types of data, primary and secondary. Primary is the one that is originally collected, right? Originally collected by the investigator himself or herself as per their own objective, right? So they have a certain criteria in their mind and then they collect it accordingly. But secondary data is already collected by somebody else, and the investigator is merely borrowing it. So data which is not directly collected but rather obtained from the published or unpublished sources, right? So there are two types of sources here mentioned, published and unpublished, two types of sources through which data is collected. Like I've already explained it to you before also, I'll explain again. Published are the ones which is publicly available. Unpublished are the ones which is not publicly available. The data is kept only with the organization that has collected it, and it is used on a confidential basis only. Okay, we'll now understand which kind of sources are published and which kind of sources are actually unpublished. Okay, so let me start with the introduction of published sources. Like I told you, the data which is publicly available by the organization. If a data is made publicly available, then that organization becomes a published source, or that particular source becomes a published one. Okay, so there could be national organizations or agencies, or there could be international agencies working on it. Now, even if we talk about national ones, we can have government agencies collecting the data, semi-government, and the private ones also. Now, mind you, when they are collecting the data for their own use, it will be a primary data for them. But if you and I or anybody, any one of us uses that data, then it becomes secondary because we are merely borrowing it from them. So the data is already collected with them. That's why it becomes secondary for us. But if they are using it for their own use and collecting it also, then it's a primary data for them. Right now I'm talking about the second stage, which is secondary data. So basically that data is being used by us or somebody else apart from them. So government, semi-government, or private. Now what are the topics they usually work on? What kind of data do they collect? they could be collecting data. This is the most important one, national income. uh, it, it's basically GDP that we're talking about. Regular data is required on GDP to assess the growth of a country. For that, many organizations are really collecting the data and also publishing it. So when they publish it, it becomes secondary data available to others also. Then they also work on population data, prices, like what are the changes, is it increasing, decreasing, what is happening, why is it happening, deriving relationship with other instances or other incidents in the market. uh, Employment status, what is the level of unemployment, has it gone up, down, what and why. Then imports, exports, etc. So these are the major topics that they usually cover, because they are very important from the point of a nation. We need to know where the nation is heading based on these things. Apart from them, they also collect data on health, literacy. So there are many uh, topics or concerns that need to be taken care of, and for that data needs to be collected on regular basis, and then for an analysis the data needs to be there with these organization. It needs to be available for others to use. Then only it becomes a secondary. Now, how often do they publish it is the question. Is it done annually, quarterly, weekly? What is the frequency of publishing it? I would say it really depends on the organization, and it really depends on the field that they are working on. If it's a GDP thing, then it is done on a quarterly basis also, it is done on a yearly basis also. If it is a population thing, then definitely it cannot be done as frequently as the other topics can be taken care of. So yes, yearly or maybe once in 5 years. So it depends on the situation. So it can be published on an annual basis, quarterly basis, monthly basis, fortnightly, weekly. It really depends on the requirement. Okay. So now I will be enlisting the type of the sources, the published sources, types of published sources. So we start with the sources. Now I will be talking about the important sources of published data, the published sources. The first one is official publications of central and state government. So it, as the name suggests, it's a national level source, and it's also a purely government source. So they issue national importance related data, which could be related to savings, investments, income, employment, etc. And examples could be like 5-year plans. Now, what are 5-year plans? The government releases its plans every 5 years, and it tells the people of India what it's going to do in the next 5 years. So, let's say the government has released its plan today. So for today only, it's going to tell you that we are going to invest, or we are going to work on these and these sectors in the next 5 years. We are going to build these many roads, these many hospitals. These are the social welfare tasks that we will be working on. So a lot of things are there on the 5-year plans. Although uh, while executing, some of them may not work, or some of them may exceed expectations. So reality can always differ, because it's a plan. A plan may not always match the reality. So 5-year plans, they are released and they are made public. They are announced on the TVs and everything. Right now we are on which plan, you will tell me, right? Okay. uh, 2017 onwards, we are on another 5-year plan. You will Google and tell me which 5-year plan is it, 12th, 13th, or 14th 5-year plan. Our 5-year plans have been in action since 1951. So 1951 to 1956 was the first 5-year plan. They are in action till now. So you will have to see which number of plan are we right now on. Okay. And then another example is annual economic survey. This also tells you data on economic survey, basically all economic variables. It talks about savings, investments, income. Again, though same things again. So it's a survey. It's an annual, as the name suggests, it's an annual thing, and as the name suggests, it's done every 5 years. So you can easily see the frequency also. This is the most important source of published data. Okay. The second one is the semi-government publications. Now, in this case, we ideally refer to the municipalities, like you have MCD in Delhi. To get a birth certificate issued, we usually go and visit the MCD. So they are the first ones who have your data, or who have the data about a family size expanding or lessening due to a death. So they have data related to birth, related to death, related to sanitation, etc. They are basically the local government and also known as semi-government publications. They also publish a report regarding the number of births or number of deaths in a month or in a year. Okay. Then the third one is international publications. International publications are done by the international agencies who are concerned about the matters of international concern. The biggest concern is peace across the world, and for that we have United Nations organization, and they are constantly releasing data on what the countries are doing to bring peace and what they should be doing. So this is one of the agencies. Then the next one is after peace. It's of course there's no prioritizing it, but health is also important. So you cannot say that health comes after peace. It's equally important. So for that we have World Health Organization. It keeps releasing data on the status of health of people and what are the things to be done, and it releases numbers on how well the people are and what are the health facilities available and where are we lacking, etc., etc. Then IMF, it talks about money, International Monetary Fund. So it's basically an international bank from where the nations can borrow. So it releases data of what the nations are doing with respect to money, with respect to their economic or the financial status. These are the first three sources. Now we'll move on to the next few sources. Now we come to the next three sources. The first one here is the reports of committees and commissions. Now, committees and commissions are basically a way of specifically solving a problem. So there's a specific issue that has come. For that only they will do their research and publish a report. Example, there was a committee formed on Commonwealth Games. The fraud done on Commonwealth Games. So the committee was set up to basically examine what went wrong in terms of the money issues. Now, currently there's a pay commission report. Pay commission report is the one who basically monitors the current wages, the current prices in the economy, and also releases data on what should be the minimum wage for each sector, and how the pay means the wages, how the wages should keep on revising itself, or the companies or the government or the private individuals, the private businesses should revise their salaries so that the employees are able to meet a basic standard of life, or a respectable standard of life. So they really work hard on collecting the data regarding the salaries. Then the next one is publication of research institutes. These are basically the research scholars. Now this point could be divided into two parts: research institutes, or they could be private research scholars also. What do you mean by research institute? Basically their job is to collect as much data as possible and publish it for everybody to see and understand what's happening in the economy. They are mainly related to academic line. First major example is Indian Statistical Institute. it's a very famous institute. Generally, people who study advanced economics and advanced statistics apply in this institute, and the students are the ones who are working on different fields like unemployment, like poverty. They can have multiple fields to work on, and these people collectively become a research institute because they then join hands and they collaborate their research work, and come up with new ideas for the betterment of society. This is an institute on a bigger scale. There could be scholars, like people who have done their PhDs. They are also sometimes interested in knowing why this is happening or what is happening. They also publish their individual reports. So that also becomes one of the published sources. Another example of research institute is NCERT. As we all know, uh, the books that they publish. Apart from that, they publish the data also related to many fields in the economy, and they do it on their website. You can always check it. So it also becomes one of the published sources. Then the next one is private publication. Till now we were mostly discussing government and semi-government. Now this one is a private one. The biggest example is the stock exchange. They talk about the nitty-gritties of the real market. Why is there a demand for a particular company? Why is there a supply? Or like what is happening to the share of Reliance company? Why the value is going up or down? What are the changes happening in the market? These are just very small examples. They collect data on a very large scale, and then it can be used to predict what can happen in the future. Of course, history always tells you a lot about the future. So here, same is the criteria applied here, that by studying the data of the history, we can predict the future. Anyway, coming to the topic, they also publish their data regarding everyday stock prices. And why is there, of course, that is an analysis. Why is there a steep rise or a fall? Then the other one is Institute of Economic Growth. This is also branched in Delhi. There could be other branches also. I have seen one in Delhi near northern part. So they are, again, I would say, private scholars, private PhD scholars who are PhD or non-PhD, who are working on various issues and constantly striving to work out solutions to the current problems in the economy. We move on to the next published sources, which are last two: publications of trade associations. It is generally the trade unions or like Institute of Chartered Accountants, basically a group of people who are employed in the same sector. Uh, then the last one is newspapers and magazines. They like Economic Times or Financial Express, or many other like Business Today. So they are the ones who are regularly publishing data regarding the economy, regarding sports, multiple avenues that they look forward to. Then this is where the published sources end. These are the types of sources that I have discussed. The next ones are unpublished. That means they are private in nature. There could be many reasons for it. For one, the first one would be the confidentiality, like your medical data. Now, what happens with your medical data, with your medical information? Of course, medical researches are done based on your information only, but they are kept confidential to the point that they are sent from one organization to the other without any leakages outside. So it is not available to the public, only available to the organizations who are who really require that data and who are working for the betterment of the society in terms of health or in any other aspect. So yes, the data is there, the data is being used because that's why it is being collected, but it is not publicized, it is not made public. It could be data regarding your credit history, it cannot be made public, but it is always used. So reports prepared, example, reports prepared by private investigation companies. This is a very broad way of saying things. I have given you better examples already. Now there's no particular example, there's no types or the number more examples of unpublished data. It's just the introduction that we have done, and that's it about it. Now we will be moving on to the two most important sources of secondary data. The first one is Census of India, the other one is NSSO, National Sample Survey Organization. uh, Now first one, like I told you, there are two major important sources. The first one is Census of India. Census of India, as the name tells you, like century, maybe 102. Census also means 100. That means it's covering the whole population of India. So it's basically, major aim of Census of India is to give a demographic record of the nation. Okay, the India, in fact, in our country, it is conducted every 10 years, and the first census of India was conducted in 1881. The first one after independence was in 1951. Now, what are the major issues or major aspects on which it collects data? Uh, it is always related to the population, and under population, it collects information regarding the size of the population, the density tends to, that means how many people reside in per square kilometer. It tells that if I'm saying it's a densely populated city, that means more people in limited area, or less densely populated, that means less people in a more area. Then sex ratio, that's the gender ratio, male versus female. Then literacy rate, what is the percentage of people who are literate. Migration rate, it's majorly rural urban migration. So these are all the concerns related to the population. It is important for the government to know these things before making any policies. It's very important. Why is it important? So whenever there is a problem in the economy related to a particular issue, like migration is a major issue that has been raised by the urban ministers. So they say that rural people are migrating and the urban people are facing problems. Because of that, please solve it. So for that, then they will need to know what is the actual number, what is the actual data regarding the migration, and then the central government will take action accordingly. So information is always required whenever you come across a problem. You first always want to know the background of it. So that background is nothing but the information, the data about it. Okay. The latest census, the last census was done in 2011. It was the 15th census done since the first one, and the 7th census done since independence. Okay. Uh, Now I will also tell you that the responsibility, who is responsible for conducting the census. Office of the Registrar General and Census Commissioner India under Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India. So Ministry of Home Affairs is the one who is the solely responsible for conducting the census of India. I am repeating, the responsibility of conducting is with the Office of the Registrar General and the Census Commissioner India, okay, which comes under the Ministry of Home Affairs. Now we move on to the next important source. This is the second important source of secondary data, which is National Sample Survey Organization. As opposed to Census of India, it focuses only on a sample and not on the entire population. Now the sample depends on the topic that it is working on. These are the list of topics that NSSO works on. It is not limited to these ones. These are the ones that are frequently used or done. Now NSSO was formed in 1950. Uh, it basically issues data related to, majorly if I talk about agriculture and industry. uh, it's very important for the government to know the prices, the crop estimation. I mean, what would be the what is the estimation of the government that how much would be the crop production, then what will be the urban and rural prices, uh, what could be the inflation depending on the production and depending on the demand. So this is how it revolves around agriculture. So for that it needs data, and NSSO collects data regarding it. Similarly, in industry it is important to know which kind of product is in demand, or which one is mostly being supplied, or what kind of industries are set up in India, which is the most suitable location for a particular industry, why. Very small examples revolving around industrial production. Again, prices and types of products, they are also very, they are the major concerns in industrial sector also. Apart from that, the NSSO works on literacy rate, school enrollment, unemployment, employment, morbidity. Morbidity tells you that how often a person, or what is the probability that a person will fall sick. It basically tells you the quality of health of a person. Then child care, public distribution systems, and maternity. So these are the major concerns that NSSO revolves around. Uh, there are other things also, but this is more than enough for now कि ये topics हैं जिसमें NSSO works on and collects the data, keeps it with itself, and if let's say the state government requires, or a public it could be an individual person like me, I want to know the data on literacy, so I can easily request NSS. So of course I have to be authorized enough to get that data, and then I can work on it. So it will become a secondary data once I borrow it from them. Literacy rate tells you how many people are literate uh, divided by the total population. Last topic, a very small one, is why do we need to be cautious while using the secondary data? Uh, so last part of this chapter tells us what are the limitations, or why we need to be cautious, or why should we verify the secondary data. Number one, because the person who is collecting the data, the organization which is publishing the data for us, may be collecting the data using various methods, and every method is not perfect. Every method has its own pros and cons, so we need to verify which method was used while collecting the data, and what was the negative side of it, and we need to be very careful about it. The second one, like let's say they used an enumerator and the enumerators were not well trained, so what can we do about it? So we need to know what really happened behind the scenes, what really happened while the data was being collected. Second, this one leading to the second point, it is the accuracy. Whether the data is accurate, whether we can rely on the data, and it is always doubtful since you are not the one who has collected it, right? It has already been collected by somebody else, and there's always a doubt on the accuracy of the data, whether the numbers are correct or not, whether it was filled with honesty, with sincerity, or it was done randomly. So the quality of data will affect your quality of research. So data has to be really accurate, and only that accuracy will lead to reliability. Then the third one, the investigator could be a biased person. He could have collected data from a particular sector and not from all the sectors. Like in agriculture, if the data of prices is being collected, maybe he interacted only with the large farmers, not the small farmers. There was a certain biasness involved here, and then the data that you get is incomplete. Again, it affects the reliability. So one needs to be very careful while analyzing the secondary data, because the first step to do a statistical analysis is to have a very quality, sort of a very sound data, a very informative and true data, which can give you the right results. So this is why there are major concerns around secondary data, but the benefit is that you get the data already collected and you don't have to invest that much time and energy, because it takes away a lot of time, a lot of money to collect the data. So it's always better to have it already collected with somebody else, and then you can borrow it or buy it. But yes, then you will have to face these problems, these challenges while using that. So with that, the chapter is over. You are always welcome to bring your doubts through mail. You can always send in your doubts, and I will be happy to answer that. I will also be sharing a full-fledged assignment for you for this whole week. So you will be working on that assignment, and until and unless I get the complete assignment from your side, I will not be putting you in record. I will be mentioning about that in the mail as well. So all the best everyone, and take care. Bye bye.